Hello, my name is DJ. I'm one of the librarians at the State College of Florida on the Bradenton campus. Today I'm going to walk you through how to cite in APA 7th edition. So what is APA? To start out, it is a citation style that's primarily used in psychology, education, sociology. It shows you how to write a research paper in a certain style, how to format, and also how to cite your sources correctly. Why you have to learn this? I will give you a moment to read. This is directly from the State College of Florida catalog. So this is very important. This is why the librarians are here. We can help you figure out your citations correctly. We do not want you to even accidentally plagiarize. It is very serious. You could get a failing grade. You could get kicked out of the class. You could even get kicked out of school. So please utilize the resources that the librarians have created, and also come to us if you have any questions. So these are the basics. When you're doing an APA citation, you need to cite in text anything that is not your own direct thoughts, opinions, your own creation. If you pull something either word for word, as in a direct quote, like the example I give you right here, or if you put something in your own words, but it is an idea that you read somewhere, you have to cite that. Otherwise, you will be guilty of plagiarism. So your in-text citation has to match up with everything that's on your references page. And everything that's on your references page, there needs to be a note in text that aligns to it. So here I give you an example, and this is a direct quote. You have the author's last name, comma, the date that this was written, the comma, and then the page number if it is a direct quote. And then this is the basic of what it would look like on your references page. And I'll be going into this a little bit more in detail in a moment. So when you're doing citations in text, there are two different ways to do it. You can do a direct quote, which means you lift the words from the source word for word, and you put them in quotation marks. And then at the end, you would need to put the author's last name, the date, and the page number that you got the quote from. If you're paraphrasing, which is when you put in your own words someone else's idea, you don't have to use the page number that you got the idea from, but you still need to cite the author's last name and the date. So here is what a basic book format looks like when you're citing on a references page. You're going to put the author's last name and their initials first and last if you have those available, the year the source was written, the title of the book and the subtitle, which is in italics, and the edition if it's available. And then you would put the publisher. And I have given you an example of what a book references APA format looks like. If you're doing an ebook, if the book has a digital object identifier or a DOI number, you would put that at the end of your citation. Otherwise, the format is very much, is exactly the same as a regular book. And I have given you an example of what an ebook citation with a DOI number looks like. If you're doing articles from a database, the format changes a little bit. So as you can see, the author's last name and initials and the year stay the same, but the title of the article and the subtitle no longer in italics. What goes into italics is the title of the journal and the volume number that you pulled this article from. And then put the issue number, the page range of the article, and the DOI number or the URL, whichever one is available. And I've given you an example down here of what it would look like if you had an article written by multiple authors. You would need to put each author's last name, first initial, and then when you reach the end, you would put an ampersand in between the second and the last author's names. For websites, these can get a little tricky. You have to dig sometimes in order to find out all the information you need on a website. You still do need to have as much information as you can. If you have any questions about websites, if you can't find the author or the month or the year or the date that it was created, that is all right. Come ask a librarian, or you can utilize a tool that we have created for you, and I will show you that shortly. But for the web article, it is similar to the citations we've gone over before. You're going to have the author's last name and their initials. In this case, you would put the year and the month and day that the article was created, if that is available. You put the title of the page, the web page, in italics, and then whatever the site name is that you got this page from. Then the URL. So, of course, the person who is reading your references page can go back and look at that source for themselves. And I've given you an example down here from BuzzFeed. Images. Images can also get a little tricky. But don't panic, that is what a librarian is here for, and we can help you figure it out. If you're using stock art for a Microsoft or PowerPoint presentation, then you don't have to cite that. But if it's an image you've pulled offline, if it's something you found in a textbook, a newspaper article, any kind of source that you pull this from, other than pictures that you have taken yourself, then you need to cite it. So it goes along similar to the book citation that we've looked at earlier. You're going to put the artist's last name and their initial, the year that it was created. The title of the image is going to go in italics, and then you would put the type of image, whether it's a drawing or a photograph or a painting. You would always need to put the type. Then the source, where you got the source, you would add that, and then the URL. And this is if you pull it from somewhere online. The whole purpose is for the person who is looking at the image to be able to go back and look at the original image and know that it doesn't belong to you. You're giving credit where the credit is due. All right, so sometimes you can come across an image that doesn't have a title, and oftentimes there is no date either. So in this case, you can still cite, you still need to cite with as much information as you can find. But if you can't find the information, you can't place the information in the citation. So for a title or for an image that has no date, you would just put ND, standing for no date. And then if it doesn't have an official title, you would just describe it. Describe the image and the type of image. And I've given you an example down here from the Encyclopedia Britannica online. If the image has no artist name, no title, no date, it's just an image that you found, maybe perhaps through a Google search, you still need to cite it because it does not belong to you. So the best way to do that is to describe the image, and you would put that in place of where you would put the artist's name originally. So always put the type and the description of the image. You can put ND for no date, put the source where you found it, and then of course the URL. And I've given you a tasty example right down here. All right. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, but I am going to show you another quick source that you can use to ensure that your citations are correct. So you just go over to the library's home page, and as you can see, we have Ask a Librarian. you feel free to reach out and use this and we will answer any questions that you have. You can also contact us through the Ask Us button up here at the top. But the tool that we've created is right here, APA Citation Guides. You click on it. It will take you into APA. And as you can see, this is a guidelines formatting. We have in-text citation examples. And then I go over some of the things that I've gone over. And then we move into more or different types of sources that I did not cover in my presentation. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out. Let us know. That is what we're here for.